Hello, this is Hopeless Pandora, and today we're going to be talking about drawing hands, everybody's favorite subject. We all see them, we all know what a hand looks like, but we're always having trouble drawing them, myself included. I'm going to be working in pen today just because I think pen ink is just going to show up better on the video. So here I just have a lot of pen sketches of my left hand that I did prior to this video, just to show some of the many ways your hand and your fingers can, move around. I think the most complicated thing about the hand is the fingers because of the joints that are in them. So yeah, I was just going to talk a little bit more about the anatomy of the hand for this video, just to make it easier when we get to drawing the hand, so that you can get to thinking like how to approach drawing hands in like different positions, how to think about breaking down the basics of the hand structure, just so that it'll be easier when you go back to like trying to come up with your own hand poses and how to draw those. Sorry, my hand is moving around a lot. So, one of the things I wanted to start with was the size of the hands. I know that's people tend to draw in hands as kind of an afterthought, just because we try to avoid them. In my middle school years, I wouldn't draw them at all. And so what tends to happen is we focus so much on the face of the character. The head tends to be really big and the hands tend to be really small. So I drew this thing just so if you put your own hand against your face, with the bottom of the hand touching your chin and just lined up with your face, the fingers will hit just above, probably around in the middle of your forehead. Because we draw anime characters, it's a little bit different. Their hands are kind of smaller just because their heads are typically so much bigger to give them like a youthful expression. But you definitely want to keep in mind that the hand should be able to cover about half of the over the eyebrow at the very least. And in some cases the hands will be smaller. I know some people with like really small hands. And there's a difference between a slight difference between female hands and male hands, and so I drew them both here. So for women, the fingers tend to be more rounded at the end, and the fingers tend to be more slender, as where with men their fingertips are like more flat and square. And I think that's just to obviously there are exceptions to this, but for stylization purposes we're just going to say that's the difference. Men's hands also are typically bigger, so if you want to exaggerate that a bit more, again, you can just make a girl's hand smaller or a man's hands bigger. It's up to you. But again, the main focus is trying to make sure the hands are a good size for the figures that you are drawing. And let's see. So on the back of these scribbles, I have drawn a few hands that kind of look like robot hands. And this is just trying to get you to think about the structure of the hand, again, as I mentioned earlier. And I think viewing it this way kind of, at least for me, makes it easier to think about how the fingers should be positioned, just because now I can actually see where the joints in the fingers are. So if you look at your own hand, there are these there's like 3 parts of the finger basically. This top nub, this middle one, this one that's actually connected to your palm. And so, see, this is a joint, this is a joint, this is a joint. So all your fingers will have 2, and then the knuckle, except for your thumb, which just has this one, and this. I guess this is a knuckle also. I'm not actually sure how that works. So yeah, for me it's easy to think about breaking down the hand this way. Okay, so the 3 different types of hands I'm going to show you how to draw are relaxed hands, so that for characters when they're walking don't always have to shove their hand in their pockets like I used to do in my youth. And then we're also going to do a closed fist and the peace sign. Peace sign's just kind of fun for me, or the V for victory. And closed fist is kind of important just because what sets primates apart from the rest of the animal kingdom is the ability to hold and use tools to their advantage. So yeah. As we're going through this, I want you to keep in mind the structure of the hands as the simplified structure of the hands as I showed you through this robot hand picture. Drawing a side view hand. I'm going to start with a basic shapes right now. So this is more or less the shape of just this part of the hand right here. You know, the palm. This is the side view because we're doing a relaxed hand. So if your person is walking forward and his hand is just out to the side, this is what we would be seeing. Now, I'm going to draw this circle here because this is about where the thumb is on the hand, or so, like so. Then we are going to have the finger joints. So this is the knuckle. This is a knuckle about right there. And so we have 1, 2, 3. The fingers at rest are never fully straight. Holding them fully straight requires muscle, and if we're having our hand relaxed, walking naturally, we're not gonna have our hand like super stiff. Then so 1 digit. Each of these things are called digits, interestingly enough. Then this last joint is going to be rounded to represent the tip of the finger. We're going to do the same thing with the thumb. So the thumb, thinking about this right now. Okay, we have the 1 joint of the thumb going kind of outwards, and then the next digit is going to curve a little bit inwards. They kind of look like little sausage thingies. Okay, and then from this part into this part is kind of curves because they're kind of connected. I'm just going to round this part out to indicate the palm, and then this right here would be the wrist, which will attach to, you know, an arm. What else does a wrist attach to? Okay, so these are the 2 main fingers you're gonna see at the when your hands are relaxed. When the hands are relaxed as a person is walking. The other fingers are like kind of fading off into the background, you know, foreshortening. You don't see, you might not see all of them, you might, it just depends on, you know, the viewpoint. So I'm just gonna draw, basically you just repeat this type of curve on the inside. So 1, 2, well, 2, 3. And the curve is kind of very subtle. It could be, could exaggerate it always. It's always an option. So there's the second finger. And then third finger, it's always getting like kind of closer and closer. And then we have the little pinky. 1, 2, 3. And that is a hand at rest. I will draw it over to the side without the guidelines, just so you can see. Okay, so for the next hand, we are doing the peace. Well, do we want to do the peace sign? I think we'll do the closed fist. Okay. So I'm just going to use my actual hand for a reference here. We do want to simplify the shapes again. So, at least for me, this is more or less what the contour of it is going to look like. Okay, so I'm just going to start with the thumb, just because the thumb covers the rest of the fingers, and so I don't have to erase anything when I'm done. That's me. So this is the knuckle of the thumb, and this is going to be about where we see that first, I guess, digit of the thumb. We're just going to draw some sort of weird trapezoid-ish type thing. And then the second part of the finger, the thumb, is just gonna look kind of like, it's gonna have a rounded edge at the top. It's gonna go about like 2/3 over the figure. Okay. And now this part here is just part of what we can see of the palm with the fingers folded over. Is the word folded correct? Anyway, so basically you just want to divide this part into 4. The pinky part is kind of smaller than the rest, so it's fine if that's a little bit smaller. Then we're just going to follow these guides, well, almost straight down. Sorry. Just about there. So, and so, here we go. We draw this line here just because this is the part of the second. Okay, so this bottom part is really only part of the palm. The rest of this is what we see of the first digit of the finger. So this bottom part right here. This is the second digit, and the third one is curved, is bent in towards the hand, towards the palm, and under the thumb. You can see that here. So we don't have to worry about the third digit here or much in here really. This is still the second, and it's just kind of like you're finishing off a rectangle from there. And then this finger, it's the same thing, just finishing off a rectangle. It drops a little bit lower, and then based on how tightly your fist is closed, you can see a little bit of that third digit, but it's receding. It's receding back, so you don't see all of it. Same here, same thing for here. And then this is the pinky. The pinky, you can see this part. This is part of the palm. This right here is part of the pinky digit thing, the third one. So we see the second one right here. Then we also see the third one, again depending on how tight your fist is. My pinky is crooked, I was born that way. And then it's just rounded at the edge. Then you can add little details like the wrinkles in the hands where they've been folded. This is the meaty part, like right here from the palm. And we can also add a little bit of shading here, which makes it look more like it's receding. This is just cross-hatching. It'll also depend like where your light's coming from. And there is our closed fist. I'll draw it over here on the other side just so you can see it without the guidelines. That is your closed fist. Oh wait. Got it. Okay, that is your closed fist. You can kind of vary that, just, you know, reference, like, holding on to things. For this apple, for instance, you just barely see, barely see the fingers. So for the peace sign, again, what we want to do is just start off with some rough guidelines. Probably about like that. Yeah, this is just for the palm, and then for the fingers now. I'll start with the thumb again, so right about here is where the knuckle is. Depending on like how tight it's going to be, the knuckle part of the thumb can actually go inwards a bit, but we're just going to show it on the outwards, just to be basic. Okay, yeah, so in this case, we're just going to go up about here. So that's a little bit over 1/3 of the way over. Drawing a diagonal line, finishing up the square trapezoid type thingy. Oh, rectangle. And like with what we did with the fist, the thumb is going to go about another 1/3 of the way over on the sketch thing. Over the palm, I guess. Okay. Okay. So, and now here, we're just going to draw a line to indicate that meaty part of the hand right here. And then, I'm going to start with the bent fingers for this one. So we're just going to go about halfway across this palm that we drew. And draw slightly off So this a slightly angled line over and make kind of another kind of rectangular shape. Round it out a little bit. Then this continues under. This is the first digit, this is the third. And we're gonna do the same thing with the pinky. The pinky is kind of lowered over here. You don't really have to add like the line here, but you just want to know. But I'm just gonna draw it here just to show you like the first, second digit again. So you get to thinking about the hands as like, you know, individual parts rather than just a whole. Then I'm just gonna draw, we'll just draw a line out towards here, towards our sketch line, and then just follow the curve. Add the lines where the fingers bent, or yeah, I guess you call those wrinkles. I don't know what else you'd call them. Okay, so we just divide this part into two. So here's a line here to mark that. And we go up kind of at an angle once again. Round it out and down. Like a hot dog. Oscar Mayer wieners. We're gonna do the same thing. It's a V shape, so the line tilts slightly to the other side. And the index finger is gonna be a little bit shorter than the middle finger. It's actually also a little bit shorter than the ring finger, but again, that also depends on your hands. It's kind of hard to tell, like with my own fingers. Anyways, we're just gonna draw it back down towards our guideline. And well, not straight towards, obviously it's a little bit curved, but you know, down towards this knuckle here. And I'm just gonna add the digit things so you see them. Sorry. Okay. And this is your peace sign hand. Draw it over to the side again for you. Okay, and there is your peace hand, victory, peace, either one. Okay, so I'm just going to reiterate for you guys. You know, a hand is not just a hand. It's composed of palm and your fingers are composed of little digits. And so when you're drawing the hand, you want to think about how these individual parts come together as a whole, and that's going to help you kind of figure out better like how exactly a hand should look. And again, always look up references, because you know, it's just gonna make your drawings a lot more accurate. You can just look at your own hand, look in the mirror, you know, that kind of thing, and just practice every day, or as often as you want to practice. Obviously, the more you practice, the better you become. And so if you practice a lot and often, if you practice more often, you get better faster, is what I'm trying to say. So anyways, thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked it. It was a little confusing, probably, but you know, trying to get into the groove of things. Okay, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.